What is up, everybody? CP and SJ with you for another week of picks here from every day we're covering as we get into, well, it's March Madness time now. We're getting conference tournaments. I'm going to do a little bit of that. SJ is going to take a look at some UFC that's going on here for you this weekend as well. We might dabble on a couple other things here for you as well. So try to give you some stuff to take a look at and make some plays here over the weekend. SJ, I don't know about you, but I always love this time of year. It starts to get the juices flowing a little bit with the college basketball. You start to get those conference tourneys, and you really get into that, March Madness feel.
You can't really beat daytime sports of any kind, let alone basketball. That'd be my preference. Daytime basketball, I can't really beat it. Football is a little bit different, but we're not complaining when we have those bowl games at 2 p.m. Those are always nice. So it's kind of that same feeling. You gotta how many sick days do I got left on the calendar here that I can sneak in and not use up too much vacation time? That's kind of the thoughts of a lot of individuals. But apparently it's a soft bubble, they say, whatever that means this year. So we'll see how things sort themselves out with the tournament, but really getting going, especially with these. I mean, almost in some cases, these smaller conference tournaments are almost a little bit more bang for your buck because these teams are literally kind of playing for their. If they don't win, they're not in.
Yeah.
When you go to the bigger schools, it's like, well, I'll probably still in even if we lose, but you don't always get a great conference tournament. So this is kind of like do or die, like literally, like win or go home.
Yeah, it's like basically the tournament's already started for them. Yeah, they got to keep winning, even if you had, sometimes some of these teams they may have lost two games all season long, and they still need to win the conference tournament to make sure they're in. Yeah, so it's kind of wild, but it does make for some good entertainment for us. That's for sure. Yeah, so get ready. That water cooler talk heats up. You start wasting a little extra time around the office. Get that boss button ready on the machine with the fake spreadsheet ready to go. Have some fun with it. All right, so let's dive into it. I'm going to start with one conference tournament here to get us going, and I'm going to start with the Missouri Valley Conference. Of course, always familiar to us here in these parts of the country. One of the tournaments that's always traditionally been kind of the week before some of the other major conferences. They kind of flip flop. They do their men's and then their women's are the next week. But Arch Madness, a lot of fun there in St. Louis. They always put on a good show. And this year, though, it's kind of more of a runaway favorite here. And I'm not going to stray from it as far as who I think is going to win this thing. The Drake Bulldogs are on a huge roll this year. Ben McCollum's done a great job moving in there from Northwest Missouri State. Always kind of a question when a guy jumps a level and brings a lot of guys with him from that level too, how they're going to fare. But they've played really well. Bennett Sturts obviously has been awesome. He's right now he's been named the conference player of the year, got that Larry Bird award. So they just got a lot of things going for him. And it shows by the odds. You're not getting much to pick them to win this tournament. And they're at minus 110. So it's basically like betting the game for them to win the whole damn thing. So they do look like to be the odds-on favorite. The rest of the pack, though, is pretty tight in there. And I'm going to throw one out there for a dark horse that actually is playing here as we speak. So hopefully they, hold on. They've got a lead right now. So hopefully they hold on and give us a, little shot here. But the dark horse I'm going to go with is Murray State. Pretty long odds. If you bet them to win the whole thing, they're at plus 2,200 to win the tourney. But they beat some of those teams. They knocked off Drake at one point this season. They beat UNI. They played Bradley really close within 2 points. Now they've had some other stinkers along the way too. That's why they're down there a little bit further on the list. But certainly a team I think that has that potential, and they seem to play better when it comes postseason time too, traditionally over the years. And I think they've got a little something to go in there to perhaps sneak up on a couple of teams. I wouldn't be surprised if UNI makes things tough too, because they just played Drake tough here about a week ago. But that's kind of my dark horse. If you're going to take somebody to get you a little extra cheese there, perhaps. So that's the Mo Valley. SJ, I know you're going to be taking a look here at what's going on over in Vegas as far as not punching a round ball, but maybe punching some heads instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually the plan there. Maybe throw a kick or two in there, and then you got insert the grappling as well. But as far I didn't go too deep dive in the Mo Valley like you did, but maybe watch you in that Illinois State Belmont game. A 4 or 5 seed. Doesn't seem like much of a long shot. Maybe get something out of that. Just as a quick glance, I thought maybe that might be because, like I said, with these teams that kind of know they're going to be in there, sometimes you get somebody to sneak up, come up out of nowhere and kind of make a run there because I would think Drake's going to be in regardless. I mean, if this helped their seeding, but we'll see how it plays out. You never know what that selection committee, they do some funky things. But on over to the fights there, it's UFC 313. We made it up over that 300 mark here, and like you said, the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. I'm going to start with the big guys there in the heavyweight division. The first fight I'm looking at here is Curtis Blades against a UFC newcomer. I guess Kuniev, Russian area fighter. We're not. He's his first fight in the UFC, so that kind of tells you what we're dealing with here, which is why I'm going with Blades by finish. He is 3-2 in his last 5, which doesn't bode too well. But for the fact that all of his 3 wins are been by KO, and he's been fighting basically either the belt holder or the next guy in line. So Blades is way more of a tested individual. He actually was kind of, made a funny comment. I don't think he was really, taking a shot at the guy, but he said he literally had to Google and find out who he was fighting because he just never heard it. He's, the way he said it was funny, but he wasn't, to me, it didn't seem like he was trying to like kind of, trash him. He was just saying like, I literally don't know who this guy is. So that does make things a little interesting, but especially anytime you're dealing with the big guys there, knockouts, not out of sorts with any fight. So I'll go ahead and go with that. Like I said, Blades by finish. So I guess if you want to go that route, you can get a submission too. More likely, he's not much of a a sub fighter too much, but he can sneak an armbar in there. Of course, these guys anybody can choke anybody out. So that's the first pick on the card there on Saturday night. And then I'm going to go with this is my, I guess, biggest under, and that was plus 100, by the way, though. So to me, not a long shot, but it's definitely plus money. This is my, I guess, underdog shot, my long shot, if you want to call it that, is Jalen Turner. I'm going to take him on the money line. That's plus 110. This is at lightweight. Again, he's kind of mixed bag in his last 5, 2 and 3. Both of his wins have come by finish, and he's the same type of deal. He's fighting top 10 guys, top 5 guys, and losing. His opponent, Bahamundas, like he's 4-1, back-to-back knockouts coming off, so that makes me a little bit leery. But he has not faced the competition that Turner has, and there's a couple of those fights where Turner shot at a stoppage against Moicano. He kind of takes the foot off the gas and ends up getting finished in his own right. So there's maybe that turns things around for him, and he's had a bit of a layoff here, so I think he'll come back strong and can maybe sneak out the win here. And like I said, money line, so decision, sub, whatever, doesn't matter. DQ, let's go. Just get the win however you can get it, and we'll be good. Got a couple more here going to the co-main. Now we're getting to the bigger fights, and this is a little bit of a letdown with the fact that we were supposed to see Justin Gaethje against Dan Hooker, which is kind of like one of those like recipes of violence. Like you're not going to get anything else besides that. Unfortunately, Hooker had a broken hand just a couple weeks ago. Well, it was announced a couple weeks ago. I think maybe he was trying to still keep the fight on or sneak something by the doctors, but that didn't end up happening. Actually had surgery within the last week or so, so we know that wasn't happening. But Fiziev is stepping in, Rafael Fiziev, who Gaethje's actually fought previously and won a decision over him, so a close fight. But to me, I'm kind of going to lean on that late notice deal. It was officially announced or reported on February 26th that the fight was being changed. So what's that, like 10 days ago? Or by the time the fight comes around, it'll be like 10 days. So that's, of course, last time they fought, it's a close fight, but that's just tough. Anytime you're gonna have to go into that type of thing and you're fighting a top 10 contender on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and with this one, because of that, I could see going either way, though, because Gaethje took a hell of a knockout last fight from Max Holloway in like one of those, knockouts of the year. I don't think you'll get many people to argue that. It was one, the point to the ground in the middle of the octagon, they just started swinging like drunk dudes at the bar. Like it was nuts. So I'm sure if non-fight fans have probably seen that highlight. But so because of that, I am gonna go the unders. Just doesn't go the distance. And that's a minus 140. So it's not a big long shot, but you could still make a decent return if you maybe pair it with one of these other fights or play it with something else that you like to. So we'll go with the unders on that. Without that chin, man, I'm just kind of nervous about Gaethje's chin. Otherwise, I would favor him. And then finally, the main event. This one, it's hard to see it going any other way. The champion there at 205, Alex Pereira, has won his last 4 fights in a row, all title defenses by KO. I know Ankalaev, it hasn't been, knocked down much or hasn't been beat up much or even finished, at least not by punches, by strikes. But just it's hard to go against him. This dude's taking fights like on, can you fight this weekend? Sure, I'll do it. And then not only does he do it, he goes in and freaking knocks people out that are like number 2, number 3, number 4 within the division, or people that have never been stopped, and he just goes and beats the brakes off him. So it's a little bit more. I'm a little leery. This will tell you right here. It's plus 150 when I made the play, so it's not like a huge. It's not like a huge stretch. I guess people are kind of thinking that as well. So it's a bit of an underdog to get some value. But you're not. It's not like oh my god, this isn't possible, and I'm just taking a reach here. So, and just last note on that, last decision win goes back to like July of 2023. So that just shows you how many, and he's active too. It's not like one of those guys that fights once or twice a year. So we're gonna go with that with the KO. So again, just to recap here, we're gonna go Blades by finish, Jalen Turner money line, Gaethje and Fiziev under the 3 rounds, and then Alex Pereira by KO in the main event there. So again, the fights, just like to throw it out there, no one's made weight yet. Injuries happen last minute. So, just if you want to play it, play it now and maybe do a mobile option where you can get void or some type of bet like that, or just, maybe wait till people make weight here. Friday mornings, usually when they weigh in there. So just FYI, keep that in mind, and, don't go throw a bunch on anything. If you're a little bit leery of injuries or something like that, that's always an option. And unfortunately it does happen, but hopefully we'll get through once we hit about, noon local time, at least here, then you can feel pretty safe because everyone's usually made weight by about that time.
All right, some good stuff there for you on that card there, the UFC. So, take a look at those plays there, and hopefully there'll be some good stuff good fights to watch. I'm going to jump back to another men's basketball conference tournament here, and then I just wanted to mention this one really because of the local fun that it's been this year. The Summit League is going on right now. Of course, Omaha's had kind of a Cinderella type of season, really. They were picked, I think, to finish 8th in the league when the season started, and here they are, number 1 seed in this tournament. But it also says something too that a lot of people still think highly of some other teams because they're actually the 4th pick to win this thing, even though they're the number 1 seed as far as the odds are concerned. So this is almost like taking a winner and a long shot at the same time, because I do like them to win. I mean, when you have the kind of momentum that they have right now going, and the energy that's around the program, everybody's kind of bought into the whole, the garbage can thing.
Yeah, hide all the trash cans wherever if you want to be using them after they head out of town.
Yeah, I mean, even they even got the president to jump out of one to celebrate the championship. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, they're plus 480 to win this thing. So get on that. I think that's a hell of a return if you get a team that hot. Granted, it is going to be tough. There is some other teams here up at the top that are going to give them one hell of a run, that's for sure. But Markel Sutton's been a really good player for them, averaging almost 19 points per game. He's shooting 48% from the field. So a guy that really can get it done. Now, so the 2 teams that are the favorites are South Dakota State, North Dakota State, and then St. Thomas is also up there as well. I'm not going to go with any of those, though, as my dark horse. So I've already got Omaha giving me great money just to win this thing. But if you want to take a real, maybe long shot, South Dakota, I think, is the team that you need to take a look at here. They have also knocked off some of these good teams in the league at times this season. And they've got a pretty good guard in Chase Forte that is averaging 17 points per game, shooting 47%. And you're getting a huge line here. They were plus 2,500 to win this thing coming in. So that would be a long shot. They start off against North Dakota State on Friday night for this thing. So it'll be a tough game for them to start it out. But, if you would just want to take a flyer on a big long shot, that's one that I would maybe take a peek at. But I'm pulling for those Mavs. Hope they get it done. Hope they kick some more trash cans down.
Yeah, that'd be a cool deal, especially for a team that's, one of those that just recent. I mean, you could say recently, I suppose, still that they've just moved up to the D1 level. So that'd be kind of cool for them to get him in that short amount of time. These lines aren't set yet. I'll probably do a little NBA action. So like we have been doing on X, Twitter there, we'll be posting, just a tweet here or there, just kind of telling you what we're liking or if we have something last minute. So the couple of NBA games I'll be looking at, I'm going to probably do like an over parlay just because of the teams that are matching up here. And on Saturday night, Lakers and Celtics, the 2 of the better offenses in the league now, especially considering that with Doncic moving on to LA. So that one, and then also for sure this one's almost a given. I'll be curious to see what the line is on this one. It might be a little too high that I'll be like, I don't know about that. But the Nuggets and the Thunder, I mean, they're always just ripping the nets with those 2 teams, especially the Thunder. So and they play defense now too. So maybe that's why I'm be a little bit leery there about picking that over if it's a little too high. If it gets more above like 250 or so, I might be a little caution there. 240, 235, I feel good about that. But those two, like I said, the lines aren't out yet. We'll be posting something out here over the weekend. But just wanted to say I'll have an eye on the NBA as well in between the fight and then all the college basketball as well.
Yeah. Yeah, some good stuff to take a look at. And yeah, I think it really sometimes you have success with those types of things, especially in the NBA when it comes to the over under lines, the prop, on player lines, that type of stuff. That usually goes pretty well if you can start to pinpoint some trends.
On the money lines is just so tricky with the fact of it's sometimes you're playing 2-3 nights in a row, you're on the road, a long home like that. So I mean, if you figure you got a trend there, you got something you like and you're hot, keep playing, but definitely more of the prop side just because of how difficult it is with those spreads.
One more tournament I was going to take a peek at here that's going on this weekend. It also just got started. The West Coast Conference, of course, historically known to be dominated by Gonzaga. And then you've got, the likes of St. Mary's, Santa Clara, San Francisco this year, all that have been playing pretty well. So it does make this tournament interesting. I am going to be a little bit boring, though, in who I'm going to say is going to win it, because I do think that Gonzaga is finally clicking at the right time. Yeah, I wouldn't have said that maybe 3 weeks ago, but they've seemed to have kind of found the right lineup here. They made some starting lineup adjustments after they had picked up a loss a couple weeks ago, and it really seems to have sparked them a little bit. Ryan Nembhard there at the point guard spot, he's really done a great job. 10 assists per game, a guy that can really distribute the ball. And then they've got Graham Ike, the big guy. He's shooting 60% from the field, which is pretty incredible for any college basketball player, no matter what position you play. But he's averaging 17 a game. So they've got some great players, and that when they start to get in a groove, that they're a tough team to beat, especially this time of year. So that's where I'll go. Not getting hardly any money on that. If you want to play it, it's a minus 160 for them to win it. So not a huge stretch there by any stretch of the imagination. But if you do want to go and try to get yourself a little extra coin, the team that I think is kind of the dark horse here, probably isn't the one that a lot of people, I guess, would outright say, just because I mentioned some of those teams that have played really well. But Santa Clara is kind of the one that's snuck up and nipped a couple of these teams here once in a while. They've picked up some big wins. They beat Gonzaga once. They beat San Francisco once this season. And then they've got a guy. I'm guessing I'm butchering this dude's name, but it's a great name. Adama Alpha Bull is the guy's name, and he's averaging 13 points and 3 assists per game. Kind of one of those do-it-all kind of guys. But yeah, plus 1,800 for them to win it. So that's a team maybe to take a flyer on there in the West Coast. But
I mean, it sounds weird, but even in Oregon State, who knows? I mean, that's a more of a typically a power 5, power 4 team, and they're hanging out. They've had a decent season, 20-win team, so that's maybe a team that can make a run too. It may sound like just I don't know. I like to pick those middle of the road teams, even down to 6th seed in the conferences that are kind of up in the air with. I think Gonzaga, like you said, is kind of righted the ship there, but they're not the Gonzaga we've kind of known the last, decade or so. They've taken a step back, but they're still a good team.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun. A couple of these are going to get wacky. There'll be something wild that happens, always does, and that's why we love it. That's what we're going to be looking forward to. Of course, all the other major conference tournaments will get fired up hardcore next week, middle of the week. So we'll put something out for you next week on and I'll touch on some of those too as well. We'll probably make some picks on some of the major conferences, both of us there. And again, it might be, in the midst of after the first day or something like that, but because some of them start so early now, they have so many damn teams that you got to play all week long now to get the tournament decided. But yeah, we'll get it in there for you. So make sure that you subscribe, get the notifications here on this YouTube channel so that when we put up that next pick video for you. And then, of course, we would love it if you would and share the podcast, available on all the major platforms. Just search Every Day We're Covering, our main host over at Spotify. So we hope you have some fun making some plays this weekend, whether it be basketball, fights, whatever else you're finding to trip your trigger. Maybe you're still, watching some hockey right now, too. That's getting down to the wire. So lots of things to play. We hope you have some fun with it. That's SJ Munoz. I'm Chris Parks. Thanks for joining us for another week of picks here on Every Day We're Covering. We'll see you next time for some more covers.